If LA courts were to move too slowly on AI, what do you think the biggest risk would be?
Yeah. One of the things that draws this out, I think, as an example, we are seeing tremendous increases in unlimited civil case filings. This would be civil case filings with where the amount in controversy is over $35,000, mostly driven by personal injury auto cases, some debt cases, and lemon law cases. Um, and there's a hypothesis out there that the National Center for State Courts wrote on recently using our data and a couple other states' data that looks very similar to ours, which is that AI developed pleadings are driving some of this. It's getting easier for lawyers to use AI to file documents. And so new cases are coming in fast. Quite frankly, we're not getting additional resources to deal with those. So how do we deal with that? And you know, so it's sort of like either we choose to use AI to help us in processing all these documents that are coming in and dealing with the cases, or we say we're gonna keep doing it our old fashioned way because we're not embracing AI, and we'll just get run over. That's my feeling. And there's not a court in this country. I keep asking every time I speak to courts. Are you overfunded? Do you have too much staff? And do you have, plenty of staff to cover all the work? The answer is no. No one has enough staff, enough judicial officers really. And so at the end of the day, I think this, embracing AI allows us to deal with those things that we've struggled with for decades, which is we just don't have enough staff to do it and to do it well and to really serve the public as well as we can. Part of the frustration from litigants is the courts are too slow, too costly, and too unpredictable. Well, AI helps us with some of that. It helps us certainly with the too slow basis because we can use it to help expedite some of our things, maybe therefore reducing the cost. So all of a sudden we begin to see benefits to the litigants. And, if we choose not to embrace that, then again, I think we lose trust from the public. They lose confidence in us. And, quite frankly, they walk away and we can't afford that. Our democracy needs a strong and effective judicial system, and this is a tool that helps us get there.
And on the flip side, if the court system moves too quickly, what's the biggest risk?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the risks earlier. If we move too quickly, then we again lose trust. Alexander Hamilton said the judiciary has neither the power of the purse nor the power of the sword, only the people's trust and confidence in the system. And so we can't lose that. So if it becomes where people say, oh, the judges aren't really making decisions, they're using AI, or we're using AI in ways that bake in bias that cause people lose trust, those are huge risks. And so I think making sure that we are purposefully pursuing AI in ways that help us solve problems. Again, not just pursuing AI to pursue AI, but to solve problems, but also keeping in mind the risks that come with that and the things that we need to do to protect against those issues. We sort of are able to get there. But if we move too fast, we, ultimately lose trust probably faster than doing nothing. So it's a delicate balance, I think, between those two things.
It's hard, I think, for any of us to sort of predict the future. I mean, it's, when the first, when the movie camera was invented, all people used it for was recording plays. It took a while to figure out that it could actually add effects and they could, edit, and like an entirely new art form was born. But we had to first just kind of automate what we did before to open up room to see what else we could build. And I think AI is going to be like that for all of us in so many parts of our lives, but certainly across the legal profession. Even so, can you do any predicting about where you see it headed? Or is there a future where parties that have work to be done in the LA County Court might end up interacting with AI more than with human clerks or even human judges? Would that be okay? Should it be okay? Like, do you have any views on that?
This is a difficult question, as you point out. It's hard to predict the future, but I have some thoughts on this, and I think it's going to be the question will be how comfortable are people are accepting things. But One of the things that we're having conversations about are, the time it takes and the cost in getting through the court system. And I think, we could use AI and all the data set of cases we have to provide some predictive analytics to people to let them know what a typical outcome might look like. And maybe people would choose to take that path, sort of like the express lane path. That they would maybe choose to do that because they want to get a resolution, they want to get a judgment. Always having the option, I think, to go to the full major traffic jam congested 5 lanes of traffic type model. But I could see an environment where you might choose to do that. I mean, we do that in our lives in other ways. I mean, we've talked, and I know AAA is working on this in lots of ways. Which, online dispute resolution is a common thing in other areas. If I have a problem with Amazon, I don't go through some exhaustive process writing them a letter to tell them to fix my problem. I just resolve the problem in about 30 seconds. And so I think as that becomes more and more common, people don't know they're dealing with AI in that situation, but they are. And as that becomes more and more common and we can get tools that are that effective, I think people might choose to do that more often. Again, I think there's going to be cases where people are going to say, "I don't want any of that. I want to go the old fashioned way, the way we've done it for centuries," and that's fine. But I love the thought of giving people choices. It's the same way we've done with remote technology. You can come in person or you can appear remotely. Make your choice. And I would really love to see us be able to give people choices similar to that as far as adjudication of their cases. As far as filing documents in clerk's offices, we're already seeing some of that. And obviously, electronic filing, really, no one's coming into a clerk's office if they're an attorney anymore. They're all electronically filing their documents. But now we're beginning, even at our court right now, to use AI and robotics processing and other things to process documents. We picked 20 of the lowest sort of hanging fruit documents in our court to do that. Use AI and robotics processing to process those, and it represents 1 million documents filed per year. Tremendously helpful to make our staff not feel so overwhelmed with the queues of documents that are coming in, and allow them to spend more time on the ones that take more of their brain power to process. So, in essence, lawyers are interacting more with technology, even though they may not know it, because we're using that automated processes to do some of that processing on the back end.